I will say here too that our authors have listed these things as our negatives, and so we might also, as you've probably come to realize, kind of view also our negatives in here as well. I think putting the Bible last as what is being presented here. I'm also not saying here that every apologist will, or classical apologist will do that as well. But how do you know what God to argue if you're going to say, from your logic, then proceeds apologetics, and then proceeds our look at the Bible? And so here's where other approaches, I think, do a better job of presenting what Christians actually do come to a more considerate worldview of what they're actually arguing for. But that's not to say that the classical apologists have nothing to offer. Again, from wherever you're at, you can still argue the Kalam argument, and it's still fascinating. And it's great that Craig has done so much work in it, and there's a lot to be looked at here. And so we're not kicking them out of the kingdom. At least I'm not. I don't have that power or authority, and so there's a lot to be desired here. But also there's good things to learn, and to just discount reason and logic. I don't think anyone really wants to do that. Even the fetus doesn't quite want to go that far. But it just seems here that the two-step approach misses a lot when it comes to what Christians are actually trying to argue, what a majority of also Christians are trying to get at. And it's a weird approach where we say, if there is no neutrality, then why are we giving the unbeliever the spot to be neutral? They're not giving you the spot to be neutral, nor are you neutral, right? You honestly can't lay aside and say, let us reason up from our mental faculties and say, come, let us reason together. Maybe there's a God. Well, hold on. How do we even take that terminology to task? We're trying to communicate something. We're trying to communicate to something else. We're trying to reach a transcendent or someone who once was us. And so then what form of God are you arguing to? It seems like you're putting the cart before the horse, but you're actually not, and you're saying that you are. And so that seems to be a big critique that we would have, at least, of this approach.
Yeah, good. All right, so they conclude this chapter by pointing out a couple of things here. First, they say that the classical model of Christian apologetics has some significant strengths, and of course, we've seen some of these, right? It emphasizes the importance of logic, which is important, and the need for an interpretive framework or worldview from which, within which facts gain meaning. And of course, it emphasizes the value of finding common ground with non-Christians. So those are some significant strengths that they suggest that this particular approach has.
On the other hand, the classical approach is beset by certain potential limitations, which are often raised as objections to the entire approach. Of these, three stand out. First, the arguments used in classical apologetics tends to treat their criteria for testing the truth of Christianity as a neutral criteria that can be objectively and correctly employed by Christians and non-Christians alike to determine truth. That doesn't seem to be the case. Such neutrality would appear to be impossible. People come to the table with different ideas already formed about what is reasonable, what is factual, what is practical, what is important. Maybe they're just wrong about it, and so they don't view it as important or as logical. And so it seems like all these different factors come in to creating an in-neutral starting place for everybody. And again, if we take the Bible for what it says, it appears that neutrality is a very hard-pressed point to make when it comes to what's revealed to us in Scripture.
Yeah, good. And secondly, they tell us the soundness of arguments, that is, these various arguments for the existence of God, used to establish theism as a true worldview, is debated, right? Not everybody accepts it. And even those found to be sound are too abstract and complex to help most people, right? What in the world are you talking about, right? This, first cause, what is that? That's not the God I thought you were talking about. Finally, classical apologetics, they tell us, tends to overlook the non-rational personal factors that affect people's beliefs.